Hi guys, if a country is fortunate enough to be established in a favorable position, able to access important trade routes, it will have a huge economic prospect. And once that problem occurs, it will affect the trade of many other countries, even leading to global economic crisis. Such countries are called having strategic locations. Right now, we're going to find out about countries that have such a position, belonging to type A+ in the world. The first is Panama, the most fortunate country to own the Panama Canal that connects the Pacific Ocean with the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. It helps the country have a steady stream of revenue, about $2 billion a year. On average, more than 13,000 tankers and cargo ships pass through the canal each year, and about 950 barrels of crude oil are transported through the canal every day. Therefore, it is an important component of international trade routes. It is estimated that 6% of global trade passes through the Panama Canal. For the United States, this is an extremely important route because half of all imports from Asia pass through it. They are also the country that uses the canal the most, with about 70% of the total cargo flowing through the canal. In addition, the Panama Canal also helps the US Navy develop strength from the Atlantic across the Pacific. That is also why the United States attempted to take control of the canal from its completion in 1914 to 1999, before handing it over to Panama. The next strategic location is Iran, which is bordered by Batu Bay, Oman Bay, and Caspian Sea. It is nicknamed the crossroads of the world. An important connection point with the Central Asian republics, South Asia, and the Caucasus region. The Hormuz Strait between Oman and Iran is the world's most important oil shipping route, with about 20 million barrels a day in 2018, equivalent to about 30% of the total global crude oil traded and 20% of the US oil consumption. The stream of crude oil passing through the strait originates mainly from Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, the United Arab Emirates, Qatar, Iran, and Iraq. For the US and Europe, a drop in oil supplies and a sudden rise in prices would immediately become catastrophic and could lead to an economic crisis if the situation persisted. So, Iran is holding hard power in the Strait of Hormuz. In fact, they used it by threatening to shut down in 2012 when the West imposed sanctions in the nation's nuclear boost program. To protect the strait and increase its strength against external threats, Iran maintains strong ties with Turkey and Syria. Also provided economic and military assistance to Shia Muslims in Lebanon, Bahrain, and Iraq. The next country is Egypt, which controls the Suez Canal, which connects the Mediterranean and the Red Sea of the Indian Ocean. It is the shortest sea route to transport goods from Europe to Asia and vice versa. On average, there are about 18,250 cargo ships passing through here each year. It gives Egypt a steady stream of income, more than $5 billion a year, more than 2.5 times that of Panama. An estimated 10% of all international trade that passes through Egypt's Suez Canal and 18% of the crude oil exported from Persian Gulf suppliers to Europe goes through the Suez Canal. In the event that Suez Canal becomes clogged by accident or war, ships have to use alternative sea routes of passing through the Cape of Good Hope, which is both time and costly and very dangerous. Thus, Egypt plays an important role in protecting the canal, as well as in ensuring trade between Europe and Asia. It has to both maintain complex relations with Israel and maintain relations with the Gulf states, Iran, and the West. That is also the reason Egypt is very focused on investment in defense. Currently, it is the 9th-ranked country in the world in terms of military strength. The next strategic countries are Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia. Located near the Strait of Malacca, connecting the Indian Ocean to the East Sea and Pacific Oceans, it is one of the busiest straits in the world and frequently congested. With about 100,000 ships passing each year and accounting for a quarter of world maritime trade, the Strait of Malacca is an important route to transport crude oil from the Middle East and Africa to China, Japan, and South Korea. The three economic powers use a lot of oil. An estimated 80% of the total amount of crude oil transported through the South China Sea goes to these three countries. In the event of an accident or war congestion, boats will be diverted to Lombok or Sunda Strait. However, the reroute will increase shipping costs and affect world oil prices. Therefore, keeping the Strait area secure is very important. However, the navies of Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia are said not to do this well, often causing dangerous armed pirates. According to statistics, the Strait of Malacca accounts for half of all piracy cases in the world. It made many sailors afraid to turn POW but still had to bypass. The video is over here. Thank you for liking it. Goodbye and see you again.